Now they just got a new school superintendent who's doing a bang up job. Missed another one. I think we've already lost like $40 million in aid from the state and federal government. So
Gives them something to complain about. I was thinking that was interesting how they framed it, that it was because of the cuts, because you automatically assume that that's the Doge cuts, right? Like they're trying to make things efficient. They're cutting employees back that are probably unnecessary, whether you agree with that or not. And then they're not able to do this because, oh well, we have too few people. I was just talking to Ashton on the way over here, thinking about how it's a funny way to frame it, but in all reality, this is kind of one of the inevitable things of ripping the Band-Aid off and doing the hard thing that's needed to do, as opposed to what we want to do, what's easier. Hire more people, have less work distributed amongst everybody.
that reminds me though, we had just talked about this during dinner. We were just saying that being a parent, sometimes you have to do things that are really hard that you find that are hard on your kids, but are the best thing for your kids. And it's hard on you when you have to do it, but it's got to be done.
And the right thing to do,
Yep.
usually in those
and
situations.
the right thing to do.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
So it's
So I guess
it's a catch-22.
I guess daddy government should start acting more like daddy government instead of.
I agree. 100%. I agree. It's gone on way too long. They have to fix things. They don't understand. People don't understand that we're spending several $trillion a year in just paying the interest on the national debt. It can't go on. We can't keep expanding it. We got to stop somewhere. Doge is saving a lot of money, but at the same time, hard things have to happen. These tariffs are going to bring in a lot of money for us. Yes, everybody will come to the table because for so many years, the U.S. has just been a free handout to everybody. They've been taking advantage of us left and right. And it's about time that we get our fair share. Take care of people in this country before we worry about every place else in the world.
Definitely seems that way. Yeah. But do you know what happened to the kids in those schools? Are they being shipped off to other schools? It kind of sounded like there was a mix of what's going on.
They're closing some of the schools down, and they're going to move them to other schools. And then hopefully during the summer, they're supposed to have them all repainted, sanded, encapsulated, I guess they call it, and done for the next school year.
Interesting.
I hope it works.
Yeah, I hope they stop dragging their feet, trying to make a political issue out of it, and just get some kind of help, whether it's reallocating money that they had planned for some other nonsense in the city. So I think the kids definitely need to have a safe educational environment. So
I agree. I'm just waiting for the parents to get in and try to get the lawyers involved.
What's a crazy thought here is, instead of spending these millions of dollars on the concrete roundabouts that they're putting up in some of the more high traffic areas of the neighborhood, that are essentially just high-speed obstacles to these people, maybe just allocate a couple of police officers to these areas that actually enforce traffic law, and then, I don't know, we can spend that money making sure the kids don't get lead poisoning.
I agree.
It's just an idea. I don't know all of their budgeting ideas. I mean, I imagine there's some other place we could pick some fat off of too, but I just am aware of that one, and that one seems like it didn't work out too well last time, so I don't see why we're going to dump more millions into it. But I would not mind starting a concrete company right about now. The bid for that job is still open.
Well, that and the speed bumps. Those are really a lot of fun when you don't know they put them in, and all of a sudden you drive down the road, and they put them in at night, before.
Oh, I'd love to know what they make too.
Oh, you can go sailing.
I bet it's $100,000 a bump.
Oh, probably.
For government money, absolutely.
Absolutely, easily.
Oh, you weren't in today, but this government contractor called while we're poking fun at the government. He was talking about it. He's like, I've only been a government contractor for 30-some years. And I don't understand why we're putting these they're called snow gems on the roof. And he said they're so fancy and big and they're immaculate looking. They're so expensive. He's like, just because the government wants to do it. He said, you might not know this, but I know this. The government always wants what's nice on paper, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. He said, and none of them are contractors. They don't understand, how things actually work in the world. And I was like, well, yes, sir. I have dealt with the government before. He thought that was the funniest thing.
And it's usually never a pleasurable experience.
The government? Wasteful?
No.
That can't be.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no. That never would be. It's like, oh my gosh.
oh,
That's just so sad.
but yeah, a lot going on. So Joe Biden has prostate cancer. Don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, that,
Convenient timing for
I,
that
I
news.
heard that it pops up in a matter of minutes.
Yep, especially when it gets to the bones. So about a week out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I lost my dad due to cancer. I don't wish cancer on anybody. But for God's sakes, why didn't they come clean and tell us that this was going on? This was during his presidency, and the only thing they wanted to do was keep him around long enough so possibly he could win, Kamala could get, vice president, and then she'd be the first woman president.
If what happened, if how it appears to have happened the way it did, or the way that it seems, it's a really ugly indicator of how they're willing to play this game. I mean, if they knew, because the president's the most monitored man on earth, you cannot convince me that he did not have some kind of a physical checkup.
If he sneezes, there's people. He has his own team of doctors.
Obama, Trump, Clinton's, every president that I can think of, you can actually go online and look at their health records from their physical, whether it be once a year or more. It differs by president, but Biden's the only one that if you try to look up his records on his doctor visits, it has one available and it's a summary. It actually doesn't show the levels in which that he tested
Right.
for. It just says, yeah, he's generally healthy and he's in good state of mind, and then they just smooth over that. So it's pretty dirty that as soon as there was about to be a hit piece come out about his declining health in the later years and the cover up from the Democratic administration, that now all of a sudden, well, he's got pancreatic cancer, and you can't talk bad about somebody that's pancreatic cancer. That's immoral. You can't do it.
Well, and the thing is that the way this all came about, they're now coming out and saying, yes, we knew that his dementia was getting worse and that he wasn't really fully cognizant all the time. And so now you're going to come out and you're going to tell us this. You're hiding this from the American people. Who is to know what he signed, knowing that he signed it? I mean, hey, Joe, sign this birthday card. Okay, fine. It was a pardon for somebody. Who the hell knows? I mean, ridiculous. They should be
Yeah.
held accountable.
No, yeah, we talked about that on the way over. They said they're looking into it. I don't know how much you can prove in that instance. They'll know it's about, well, especially with the leaders, Congress and Senate,
Yeah.
innocent until proven guilty, at least for them. Um, but it's pretty funny how that could have been one of the potentially biggest scandals in American history, at least involving a presidential administration, for sure. Because how many things that were auto-signed or auto-pinned were actually him? Did he even know about half of it? I mean,
No.
it kind of makes sense, too, with his erratic schedule, everybody kind of criticizing him, at least on our side of the fence. There's a lot of conservatives would judge him because he's getting ice cream again. What there's some tragedy in the Carolinas or some other state, and he's out doing a press relief with ice cream right now, talking about what his favorite flavor is. Maybe a lot of that was just a cover to what he was actually going on, which was the schedule of his, if not cancer treatment, then I don't know, at least checkups and moderation of it. And then it comes into question, like, did they know and did they deny him like an adequate service to treat the cancer prior because they didn't want the public to know that he had cancer so they could rerun him and then have Kamala take over when he inevitably passed or had to bow down because of health issues. Either option, very dirty tactics, in my opinion.
How could Jill Biden, as a loving wife, let this go on, knowing that her husband was failing? And the only reason she did it was she was power hungry. She loved the life of being the first lady, Dr. Jill Biden. What is she doctor of?
Probably one of those like language doctors or something.
Yeah.
Who's probably has a PhD in literature
And reading.
or something. I don't know.
I read a lot.
Grammar.
Yeah.
Did she go to school for 8 years to read? I don't think so.
I didn't fail, so I didn't need to go for 8 years.
I don't even know if she had to go either. She definitely didn't pay for it.
No, I think she got a honorary doctorate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So she was handed a diploma without going to college. Those are hilarious. You mean like the same kind of college degree that rappers have?
Yep. Oh
The
yeah.
illegitimate ones?
God yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's perfect. Um, I wanted to bring up a couple things here. One, there was a report out, and I forget exactly who did it, but I'm sure you can look it up because there's a lot of them out there that keep claiming that as a white person, you should be guilty that you're a white person.
Oh, I like
You
this
you
topic.
should not be happy that you're a white person,
Oh, yeah, let's get blacklisted right away.
and we need to reciprocate and give all kinds of stuff to all the minorities. And they want you to feel guilty, and they work really hard at it. And I'm telling people right now, I don't feel guilty about any of it because for 40 some years, longer than that even, because I've been working since I've been 13, 14 years old, I have busted my butt to get what I have. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm not willing to give it to you. I agree that there are people out there that actually need help. And those people, I don't mind helping. If you're 300 pounds and you're on,
Buying
well,
fudge rounds with
yeah,
your.
yeah,
Sorry,
and
lyrics.
and you're buying Oreos or whatever else, and on your food stamps, and uh, that's up to you. But you shouldn't be getting it. You should get a job. You want what I have, or you want what other people have. You can't sit there and go, "Well, it's not fair. He has it because he's white." That has nothing to do with it. I know many people of all different ethnic races that have a lot, but they've all busted their butt to get it.
Yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of people try to neglect the fact that it's a lot of hard work that'll get you to a good, successful place. I mean, I did not come in and start being serious about my life and finances until well after uh, the severest point of inflation hit. And, I've had a much, much better quality of life just going to work every day, doing what I need to do, my due diligence, and not doing irresponsible things, I think is the biggest thing. But, you know, with you talking about, well, you're talking about there was kind of like a dichotomy there with what you were talking about as far as earning what you get, and um, them talking about them needing it because they are a certain race or not of a certain race. I'm just going to focus on the race issue because I think that one's the most interesting to me, and I think it's funny that we, as a white American, have to feel sorry about what happened 200 some odd years ago, and we owe reparations, we owe money to a certain demographic of America. But it's interesting that even though we've been here longer than that, we can't be proud, or even a lot of people claim that we can't claim ourselves as native. So we are European. So, or white people, essentially, how they will generalize that we're European. So go back to Europe. This is an Indian territory. This is Indian land. It's like we can't have any home heritage, any home tradition. These refugees or these migrants that come in a family ago or two families ago, specifically talking about the congressman or senator, I cannot remember. I can't remember what he is, but he's an Indian man who's only a second generation American, and that I'm pretty sure actually he's a first generation American because he's an anchor baby. So his parents were technically legalized because they had him, but he's trying to impeach Trump right now. It's funny how these people can claim to be American and spout about what is America. It's just it's a collection of ideas. It's not an actual like piece of land that we've bled for, is what they tried to say. But we have to be ashamed of things we did 200 years ago, and we can't claim rights to things we did 500 plus years ago. It's very interesting, man. It's a very interesting double standard.
I am not ashamed. I am not guilty. I don't feel guilty. I will never feel guilty because I've worked for everything I've had. There has been no one that has handed me anything. The only thing anybody's ever done is give me an opportunity to have a job and make a living. And I think I did that pretty well. I'm not wealthy, but at the same time, I've raised a family, got grandchildren, you know,
Got a beautiful life, yeah,
Yeah,
from the outside perspective, anyway.
as far as I'm concerned, I'm super wealthy. But, it's not a matter of why do you go to another country and then want the country that you went to be like the one you left? Get the hell out. Go back home. I don't want you here. Unless you want to be a viable part of society and a law abiding citizen, and all these people that think they can do whatever they want because they just don't get caught. They're not going to put them in jail. Guess what? You should be thrown in jail. And if they need to build more jails, build more jails. I don't care.
Well, what if there's not a precedent set? Like the illegal immigrants nowadays, they come in illegally, but we don't have apparently we don't have a precedent set to actually kick them out of the country legally. And it's funny because I'd like one person to show me a video of one of these immigrants that are concerned right now about getting deported, that don't flat out admit to being an economic parasite. And what I mean by that is every single one of them is like, yes, I'm here in America working to better my family's life that's in Mexico. Show me one of them that doesn't send their money back home. Why didn't you bring the whole family?
Yeah.
And if you did bring the whole family, why are you still sending money back home to your relatives? Like, you need to invest. Like whenever, settlers came over here, whenever it was like the final frontier, you need to be both feet in the boat. You can't come over here to leech off us economically and send your money home, because if you did that, you work a minimum wage job here and you send your money back home to Mexico. There's people like Venezuelan homes, Mexico City, some of the really higher touristy places. Get a house for under $100,000. We're talking like a luxury house. You come here and work for a couple of years at a contractor job and send your family back the money. You've got a nice luxury house in Mexico that you can just ship off to in a couple of years whenever you inevitably get deported.
Yep.
It's crooked, and people trying to push up a different side of that story. I don't believe. I mean, if you want to come here and be 100% committed, I think that you would go through the legal process, because anybody that isn't here legally understands that it's a gamble, right? What happens if you get caught up in a raid? You get sent back. They're like, oh well, I'll just come back. Well, that I don't know about you, but if I got picked up and went to jail for 2 3 months, my life would be in shambles when I came back. You have to maintain things, and I refuse to accept that false narrative that they're coming here for a better life when they're not doing it in the right channels. Anyway.
Well, and then you come here, and even if not for economic reasons, you come here and you're a drain on our economy because you're not working, and you try to insist that you want Sharia law. I want this, we should do this. Yeah, just what I want. A law that degrades women and treats them like servants and then makes them wear, you don't know what's under all that they got on. If that's what you want, go back to your country. I'm happy to say goodbye to you. If I got a shirt that says, if this flag offends you, I'll help you pack, because this is the United States. We don't have to be like any place else but what we are. And if you don't like it, don't come here.
Yeah, kudos for Texas for outlawing that. That was absolute nonsense. I mean, once you have a couple people in positions of power to actually change the law that are followers of Sharia law, and they're actively pushing for that, that's it's completely ridiculous. I mean, I don't even understand how it got as far as it did. But yeah, kudos to Texas for
Here we
shutting
go.
that down.
Here's this. This is what I believe in.
Speaking of Texas,
You know,
pro-life, God, and guns.
that's right. And coffee.
Note the coffee is the biggest one.
Oh, the coffee's great. I got to tell you, and they don't sponsor us. They don't do anything, but Blackout Coffee is amazing. So,
It's not Black Rifle, is it?
nope, Blackout Coffee. It'll
Good.
it'll get you going.
Good, good, good.
So,
They fake pander to Republicans and then donate to liberal ideas. Black Rifle, shame on you.
exactly. I don't. I read an article today, and I really hope it's not true. But apparently, on LeBron James's TV show or something that he has on HBO,
That's good for him.
he says that he has no use for white people. He doesn't want to have any white friends. Doesn't just me and my boys. So now your God-given talents that God gave you to be a great athlete, and you want to aspire to be, I don't know, everybody is always talking about Martin Luther King, where all men are created equal. I guess you forgot that part. Maybe the good Lord forgot to give you a good brain with all your athletic ability. And if that's the truth, I feel bad. If it's not, I apologize. But I'm telling you right now, you're not promoting anything but racism when you're talking like this. And musicians and athletes that come out and can't and believe that the white people are the problem in anything, well, look who most of your owners are. Talk to them.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say. I was like, I wonder what the ethnicity was of the owner of the team that gave him his first shot.
Yeah,
Um, Probably about a
exactly.
95% chance I can get that right. But
Cleveland
regardless of it,
Cavaliers.
you know, circling back to what you said earlier, I am so sick and tired of trying to be made to feel guilty. I don't give a shit anymore, and I'm also going to say it on the race issue. That's fine if they want to hitch their trailer to this racially divisive narratives that are going out right now, and I don't care anymore. It's completely past the point of any kind of sympathy. If they want to act like that, that's 100% fine. They fought against segregation, and now they're fighting for segregation whenever they're a mass majority. I think it speaks a lot to their character. I have no interest in engaging with anyone like that. I think there's plenty of people on, of every race that they get along well and aren't buying into this. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of people right now that are really, really trying to stoke the flames of this racially divisive content that's coming out. And frankly, I'm so over it to the point where I'm like, I think the white people should be more tribal. I think you should be forming more communities outside of your just average day to day life, where you support people, whether it be through your history, your ethnicity, whatever it may be, because everyone else is doing it, and I feel like we're really dropping the ball on that aspect as far as building communities and building strength through
I
that.
agree. I agree 100%. We need to stand up. We need to look for people who think like us and don't sit there with their hands out. I don't, like I said, I don't feel guilty. I'm not going to feel guilty. I don't care what you say. I will help anybody who truly needs a hand. But when it comes to all of these people that think that they're entitled because their forefathers were slaves, you know something? I had nothing to do with it. What about all of the Irish slaves that came over here and the Chinese slaves that built our railroads? I don't hear them bitching. And I'm just sick of it. I am just totally sick and tired. I am so, I truthfully believe that all this racism junk is coming out still from the Democrats because they want to try to run something in the 28, elections. And it's just, I'm done. I've had enough.
It's the best way to, a house divided will fall. It's the best way to separate a huge class of people that would vote logically by something that is purely emotional, which is calling racism. And I feel like that's a big thing that the Democratic Party does is they try to sway and guilt their side and African Americans into voting exclusively for them, which statistically has been working and has been working for a long time. And there's some history of that actually we can go into in another episode. It's a whole another long spiel about them claiming that they were going to be able to do this and make sure that they voted Democratic for a long time.
Yep.
And I think a lot of it is it's sad that it's such a hook, line, and sinker kind of a situation where they fall for it every single time. And if you can step away and see what they're actually arguing, it's a complete emotional basis. It has nothing to do logically, and I think we would get a lot more um, situations like where Trump was elected, where you have, the majority of the popular vote, you have swing states in the majority being won to one side. And I don't think that was because it was a female president. I think it was because of the rhetoric and the platform and the way in which they went about trying to demonize half of America. Um, yeah, I just don't think it's a very good policy to run off of, and they're it seems like they're doubling down on it. They're doubling down on continuing with the racially divisive comments, and I don't know what to say to it other than the fact that just think with your own head. Like, stop being race baited into these situations. Um, yeah,
Well, to me, talking about racism is pretty much like talking about abortion. And they try to make you feel guilty. Oh, it's a woman's right. It's their body. It's this and that. When you use abortion as a birth control, guess what? They give it out free. There's actually classes on it. But do they think about it? No. I mean, I'm supposed to take the opinion of somebody who can't figure out, with all of the free things that they have out there for contraception, that they're still getting pregnant. I'm sorry. You know, I agree 100%. If it has to do with the life of the mother, or
the three
that,
exceptions. Yeah,
that
life. The what is it? Life of
rape,
mother, rape, or incest.
incest,
Yeah, I think it was
I
the
agree
three.
100%. Absolutely.
Yep.
But these people that use it as birth control, give me a break.
Yeah, they argue false points to try to get kind of an ultimate grand slam win. But yeah, and I'm circling back to the racism thing. It seems like such a moot point to me because there's people like I can't remember what her full name is, but it's Sunny, and she's on The View. She's a black lady or mixed lady that was a very big proponent of reparations, and then she actually did a genetics test on her history. I think it was 23andMe, might have been one of the other ones. Don't really care. It's not the point. Um, she ended up finding out that some of her ancestors owned slaves. So then it comes into question: are the direct descendants, regardless of the race, obligated to pay the people that are not, or that are direct descendants of slaves? So essentially, there could be African American people that get caught up in the side that owes the other side of America that wasn't implicated in this money, and then it just gets so convoluted. It's ridiculous. Like, how can you argue something about that from 200 years ago? It's just a gimme. It's a free break to get something for free, and I think that kind of boils into what we were saying earlier about being parents. We have a generation of spoiled children that didn't realize that adversity is actually going to make develop your character in a way that is good for you in the long run. That's going to help you be resilient in the face of further adversity, and help you actually be able to, I don't know, God, for lack of better words, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I know my generation especially hates that phrase, but um, that's the truth.
But you've seen it. I mean, at work, you've seen it. You've seen people that were really pretty much, you know, down and out. And guess what? You get a little bit of confidence in people telling you that you can do things and give you a chance to prove what you can do.
Making the right
And
choices with the opportunity.
right, and all of
Yep.
a sudden, like I said, I don't expect anybody to give me anything but an opportunity. And if you expect more than that, what rock are you living under?
And it's like it's the misappropriation of words, the convolution of the definition of those words, where you say, I'm willing to give anybody a hand. I think it needs to be clarified that you mean a hand, not a handout, but a hand up.
A hand up.
And
Yep.
I know these are little quips that you hear in the news sometimes, but I think it means an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's willing to give people an opportunity, but that's going to show you who you really are. You can't just give people things for free and then expect them to not be spoiled by that outcome. I mean, just like any municipality, any government entity, anything that holds authority over you, like an adult, should also act as an adult. As far as a parent toward a child or more of a youngling, doing things that aren't necessarily what you want, but are in your best interest.
Yep. And there's consequences for your actions. You make some dumb choices. I'm not saying that I never did. I did. But you know something? I learned from my mistakes and I fixed them along the way. Unless you do that, you're not going anywhere. Like I said before, Nobody rises to meet low expectations. And if you just expect nothing from somebody or from your kids, you're going to get nothing. I guarantee you, you will get nothing. You have to put forth the effort and you have to expect excellence. And that's what people should strive for. And if they don't, that's up to them. But then don't come whining to me that you ain't got something.
Yeah, I feel like boomers get a lot of a hard time. But that mentality that boomers specifically had, I think, raised a pretty good generation. I think there's some issues that are valid to argue about some boomers. I'm not going to lump you in with them because I definitely don't think you fall into that category. But as far as it goes for raising people and trying to instill ideology or maybe not ideologies, but instill morals, work ethic, etc. into a young person so they can develop and be a good, upstanding, productive member of society. Hopefully, um, I think it was a good formula. It was a better formula than we have now, for
Yep,
sure.
I agree.
I 100% agree with that.
Well, that should probably do it for tonight.
Yep, I think that was more than enough. Welcome back. We're going to keep this more consistent than we have been. We had a little hiatus here, but we are back, and thanks for joining us in this murky Milwaukee day.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Should we do one more?